Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, the new downtown library passes another financial hurdle. That and more from San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders' State of the City address.
And how do you get from Sesame Street to National Public Radio? We'll ask the newest public radio CEO how he plans to make everything A-OK at NPR. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Ferrian.
And I'm Dwayne Brown. Mayor Jerry Sanders is wrapping up his final State of the City address downtown tonight.
Sanders focused on what he sees as the successes of his time in office, including two major projects, a new Charger Stadium and the new downtown library.
Regarding the stadium, he said, "We are moving forward on a stadium solution at the MTS bus maintenance yard. The approach we're committed to will keep the team competitive while requiring no new taxes." While he said the new stadium will not require new taxes, it was unclear whether public funds will be used for the building project.
The mayor also says the city will move forward on construction of a new downtown central library. He says another success story will be told in the summer of 2013 when we open the doors to our new central library. This project is on time and under budget and fully funded without a nickel of general fund money.
Tomorrow, Joanne will speak to the library's chief fundraiser, Mel Katz, about the status of the project. We'll also have additional analysis of the State of the City address tomorrow night.
Parole was denied again today for former California Highway Patrol Officer Craig Pyer, serving a sentence of 25 years to life for the murder of a San Diego State University student. This is the third time Pyer has asked for parole. In 1986, he murdered 20-year-old Kara Knott after pulling her over on Interstate 15 at Mercy Road. Pyer will not get another parole hearing for 15 years. He'll be 76 by then.
California lawmakers may have to consider more spending cuts this summer. Today, the nonpartisan budget analyst released a projection of tax revenues, and it's more than $3 billion less than what Governor Jerry Brown forecast. The main disagreement is how much will be brought in from the wealthiest Californians, who currently pay about 40% of the state's income taxes. If the latest figures are correct, lawmakers will have to consider more spending cuts, tax increases, and borrowing when the new fiscal year starts in July.
A San Diego lawmaker is co-sponsoring a bill to pull the plug on California's high-speed rail project. Republican Assemblyman Martin Garrick says he's trying to stop the funding of a fantasy train the state can't afford. The cost of the system has skyrocketed since voters first approved it in 2008. Now, Garrick and other lawmakers want to give voters a do-over in November. They're pushing for a ballot initiative to repeal the original bond measure.
A one-day fair for homeless San Diegans attracted hundreds of people to Golden Hall today. There were plenty of services available, from free haircuts to flu shots. This annual event also connected the homeless with housing, clean clothes, and dental services.
I'm also trying to get some housing because my girlfriend is pregnant, so trying to get some housing, get off the street so I can get my son back. I have a son that's in the system, so I'm trying to do those things, because right now I stay at Alpha Project on 16th and Newton, and I've been staying there since the 21st of December, so I'm trying to get myself back together because I'll be 41 in 2 months, so I'm trying to get myself back on the track, trying to get a job, things like that.
About 650 people lined up to get services today, but with an estimated 8,000 homeless people in the county, organizers say the need is growing.
Another San Diego-based ship is on its way toward the Western Pacific and the Middle East. The USS Milius left this morning for a 6-month deployment assigned to maritime security. This is the ship's first deployment since 2010 when it guarded an Iraqi oil terminal.
Another San Diego ship on deployment is the USS Carl Vinson. The crew have come up with a few high-tech ways of keeping family members up to date on what life is like on the Vinson. Home Post blogger Beth Ford Roth joins us from the News Center. So, Beth, is it true the crew is producing their own newscast?
That's right. They are not just a newscast, a webisode. that comes across every week on the Vinson Facebook page. Now, the webisode is called Vinson 101, and it's sort of a way to school people about what happens on a ship like the Vinson, from doing laundry or being a chaplain. Now, there's also a newscast, as you mentioned. It's about 3 minutes long, and it appears once a month on the Facebook page. And it gives sort of an idea of what's happening on the ship on a longer basis, like how they celebrated New Year's Eve, or what it's like to get your gallbladder removed when you're on an aircraft carrier. Now, the newscast also proves that the crew members have a sense of humor.
His boots are shinier than his head, but just barely. That being said, if he had hair, he would keep it high and tight. He requires very little sleep, but when he does, his rack makes itself, purely out of respect. When he pats you on the back, you feel the need to put it on your brag sheet. He is the most squared away sailor on the ship.
I do not always deploy, but when I do, I prefer Carl Vinson. Stay salty, my friends.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice play on a familiar commercial, right?
Correct. The most interesting man in the world, one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too. So what kind of reaction are we hearing about these commercials, and what did you call them, webisodes?
The webisodes, yeah. Well, you know, folks are responding on the Facebook page, and their family members, their loved ones, and they get a chance to see their sailor in action. And they really don't get to see them very often, maybe a photo or a Skype, and this is a way to see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and, you know, proof that they may be having some fun out there, too.
All right. Home Post blogger Beth Ford Roth. Up next, is it time to shut down roadside call boxes? Joanne is talking about that with a San Diego City Council member at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
What does a cookbook about party food have to do with roadside safety? Well, that's what some board members of SAFE, short for the San Diego Service Authority for Freeway Emergencies, are asking. SAFE oversees the roadside call boxes, those yellow phones you see on the freeway. San Diego City Council member David Alvarez is on the SAFE board. He joins me now to talk about the call boxes, redevelopment, and a new cross-border airport terminal. Councilmember Alvarez, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's remind people about these call boxes, how we pay for them, how they're funded.
Well, over several years ago, about 20 years ago, there was an initiative that was passed statewide where each of the counties were able to collect a $1 vehicle registration fee as part of your vehicle registration annually that would help fund these call boxes as a result of someone who was in need of roadside assistance and wasn't able to get any. There was an emergency that was occurring, and so leaders at the time said, this is a good public service. Let's charge the counties who want to participate, have them charge their residents a $1 fee on the registration, collect the money so that we can put up call boxes and we can service call boxes and we can expand more call boxes into more areas so that people have access to roadside assistance.
And how much money is sitting in that fund right now in San Diego County?
Well, we collect over $2 million a year. And what's interesting about this fund is that there are about $13 million in reserves that haven't been used. Call box use has declined as mobile phones, cell phones have been on the rise. And so we've been removing call boxes, and there's plans to remove more in the future. There's still legitimate room for call boxes where we don't have cell phone service in the mountains here in the backcountry. But overall, it's been decreasing, but we're still collecting the same fee. Right. In fact, it's growing because there's more population.
I want to show people at home some numbers. So we know that a call box use is down by 90% over the past years, but we also did a little more digging a couple months back to find out the nature of these calls and learn that only 3% are actually true emergency calls. A vast majority go to the CHP, some of them to auto clubs, etc. And we know that the private company that's contracted to operate the boxes, they've hired a marketing firm that now wants to do what?
Well, it's actually the board. This is the government board, elected leaders from throughout the county, including county supervisors and members of councils and mayors. It's a board of 7 individuals throughout the county. Myself, I'm representing the city of San Diego on this board. And so we actually make the decision on where to spend the money. This last year, the board was presented with an option to spend over $200,000 to do PR, to let people know that call boxes exist, or that you could use your phone to also get roadside assistance by calling 511. And so now the year's gone through, and the same PR firm wants our board. I, by the way, did not support that contract this last year because I thought it was a waste of taxpayer money. This year, now they're coming again. They're requesting about $140,000 to give out cookbooks, to hand out gas cards, to give out a road trip, a local road trip, people to stay, to drive around the county and stay in our local hotels as part of this PR
How are you going to vote on that? Tomorrow's the vote.
I don't think I'm going to support it. Last year, I requested an RFP so that we have a competitive process so that we can get the best and cheapest ideas on how to do this. Is this taxpayer money? And that wasn't followed this year, so I don't think I'll be supportive because I did request an RFP go out so that others can also bid on this.
I want to switch topics. We haven't got a lot of time left, but City Council approved an interesting project yesterday, a cross-border terminal. Tell us about that.
This is a great project for the region and for South County as well, but for the region as a whole. Every year, Sandag estimates that we lose $6 billion in our economy, in our regional economy, San Diego, Tijuana, because of the long delays in border crossings. And so this is one of the solutions, it's not the solution, on reducing border waits. If you have a ticket that you're going to be flying out of Tijuana Rodriguez Airfield to fly to either a Mexican destination or one of their many international destinations, one of the interesting things, they fly to more international locations than from Lindbergh Field. And so if you're going to go fly from Tijuana, you no longer have to cross the border through San Isidro or Otay. You can be dropped off at basically an airport terminal here on our side, get ticketed, checked in, go through Customs and Border Protection, cross over the border through a 500-foot-long bridge, and land right at the airport. So
we've got 10 seconds left. This is privately funded. What year would we see this actually happen?
2013. By the end of 2013, we're hoping this is operating.
Councilmember Alvarez, you'll have to come back. We have so many more questions for you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Latino students are the largest ethnic minority group in the Southwest, and California has more than 1.5 million English language learners. Now, some schools are looking more closely at how best to teach them. That story from our Fronteras desk in just a moment. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Tonight on KPBS at 8, meet the mob of street-smart kangaroos moving into Australia's capital city and the ecologists following their every move on Nature, Kangaroo Mobs. Then at 9, Nova recreates the extreme engineering challenges faced by scientists on the way to developing a bomb which would deal a severe blow to the Nazis. And at 11, an encore presentation of Nature and the Kangaroo Mobs of Australia. That's tonight on KPBS.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next news hour, the winners and losers in New Hampshire as the candidates push on to contests in South Carolina and Florida. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
The American people have named PBS the most trusted source of news and public affairs and the most unbiased institution in America
for the 8th year in a row.
Trust. The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Latino students are the largest ethnic minority group in the Southwest and the fastest growing nationally. Yet, Department of Education data shows they consistently perform poorly on state tests and have lower graduation rates than whites. Reporter Roxandra Guidi takes a look at efforts to bridge the Latino achievement gap.
Restless little kids play outside during mid-morning recess at Thurgood Marshall Elementary in Chula Vista. Of the 700 children here, about a third are Latino. Most of these Latino kids were tested in kindergarten and classified by the school as English language learners, or ELLs. Since 1998, California has done away with a single standard for bilingual education and has instead put ELLs in a wide variety of English immersion classes. It's up to each school district and each particular school to tailor programs for ELLs. So after recess, a dozen third graders sit in a half-hour English refresher class. F-A-V-O-R-I-T-E, favorite. Half of them practice spelling out loud while the other half are at computers. Technology has been an important tool for teachers at the school.
One of the best new methods that we've just implemented in the last couple of years is a computer program called Imagine Learning. So for 30 minutes every day, they go on the computer, and it's personalized for them. It has lessons that are gradually harder and harder, and it keeps track of their score, and that's been a huge help for us.
But not all these English learners are kids from an immigrant background.
In fact, one or two of the students in the group today are English speakers, but they have a very limited background and their vocabulary is very limited, and maybe they have limited life experiences. So they don't have the same sentence structure and vocabulary and writing abilities. So we are also giving them extra support.
Among educators, there's growing controversy over the number of kids who end up tested and classified as ELLs, segregated into different classes for extended periods of time. There's an estimated 1.6 million ELLs in California. Last year, in the statewide English test, only 1 in 10 reached proficiency levels.
Hi, welcome. Good to meet you. Come in.
The Borundas are a Mexican-American family living just a couple of blocks away from Thurgood Marshall School.
Look, watch me do it at the same time.
Nicholas and Alexander are both classified as English language learners.
I've got a few, like 4 or 5 friends that are Mexican, but they don't speak Spanish. Sometimes we speak a little bit in Spanish, a few simple sentences, but that's all.
Alfredo Borunda says he was surprised when he found out his kids were classified ELLs a couple of years ago when they came home from school with questionnaire results.
One of the questionnaires included questions about what languages were spoken at home, what language the children started speaking when they were babies or when they were little, and we answered that we spoke, my wife and I, Spanish at home. So that's why they were classified as English learners.
Borunda says his kids score very well on language skills and are even part of the GATE program for gifted and talented students. By being classified as ELLs, he worries his kids could be losing access to the best classes and end up being discriminated against for speaking Spanish. But back at Thurgood Marshall, Principal Christopher Gunnett says the extra attention given to the school's large ELL population has boosted test scores and helped his school's academic performance index jump to 908, way above the state's target of 800.
I fully believe that is it's an opportunity for them to grow. It's an opportunity, and we have multiple ways to address that. We have dual language or dual immersion programs. We have bilingual programs at our schools. We're structured English immersion, but we have a variety because we want to provide that for our parents and the children, really.
Missions everywhere.
Currently, there are some efforts to revamp California's English language learning system. The largest school district in the state, Los Angeles, recently announced plans to establish a single ELL curriculum. It will allow them to track student success over time. What's in store for National Public Radio? Joanne puts the new NPR CEO on the record over at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
Gary Knell began his new job as CEO of NPR late last year, taking over the public broadcaster in the midst of some controversial firings and at a time when some are calling for an end to its government funding. Knell took the job after spending several years at the helm of Sesame Workshop. He joins me now. Gary, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Joanne. Thanks.
So why would anyone want to leave Sesame Street, especially at a time like this?
Oscar the Grouch said scram, so I had to do something.
You had to leave.
Yeah, but seriously, Sesame Workshop's like a major nonprofit, mission-driven media company. It happens to be in the children's education space. And I always vowed to myself I never would do something else that didn't have as big an impact. And I decided NPR was one of those things. I've been a big NPR fan for many years, and actually them sort of skipping a little bit and having some issues, it was a good time, I think, to try to set the sail correctly and you know, move it forward.
You don't really have experience in a newsroom. Do you think that's going to be an obstacle in your new role?
Well, I was a journalism student, actually, at UCLA, and spent a lot of time as a student journalist and worked in the newspaper business over in Hong Kong, and I've been, you know, kind of around newsrooms more than you think. And actually, as a television producer at Sesame, we did a lot of primetime programs, for instance, around military families and the impact that the wars were having on families with young kids, so, which were pretty serious programs. So I have more experience in that than it might otherwise first appear. But I think at the end of the day, this is really about content, and it's trying to figure out, as we live in a very complicated media world, what's the place for NPR? How do we move it forward? And I think there's some parallels we can draw from my experience.
So what is the place for NPR? What is the role of a public broadcaster in America?
Well, I think it's, you know, we have a totally changing atmosphere, and I think it's important that NPR is about fairness, accuracy, sourced information. People are trying to find out news differently now, and as someone from Fox News said the other day, you know, when they come to our channel at night, everyone knows the news. That's not why they're coming here, and I agree with that. They are knowing the news. The question is, how are they knowing the news? And a lot of them, a lot of folks, a lot of Americans are getting their news from NPR, and we have a standard to uphold and a responsibility, and that's what I think is an important role for us in the future, bring different voices to the table, different political perspectives. People can make up their own minds.
There is, though, a reputation of NPR or public media being left-leaning. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think part of it is some of these were from the self-inflicted wounds of the last couple of years, and all I can say to your viewers is the people who made those decisions aren't there anymore. I would invite people who are questioning some of that integrity to listen to public radio. And we've just been through the New Hampshire primary, the Iowa caucuses, and we have had nonstop Republican candidates who are not in gotcha interviews. These are candidates who are able to articulate their points of view so people can make up their own minds. And we have a pretty well balanced panoply of political voices on the air, but people need to listen in and make up their own minds.
Let's talk a little bit about those candidates. Mitt Romney, for example, so his famous line during the campaign is, he doesn't want to kill Big Bird, but maybe Big Bird will have to start selling ads. Do you imagine perhaps that public broadcasting has to imagine itself without government funding going forward?
Yeah, well, he also said he was a fan of PBS. Look, I happen to think like museums and libraries that an educated public, especially in those parts of the country where there are news deserts, where newspapers are having very difficult economic times, where commercial radio stations are pulling away from news coverage. A lot of them are, frankly, not locally operated anymore. They're operated out of New York or some other place. This is a time where it's very important for public radio to have those operations. It's about localism, and the fact is that NPR gets almost nothing from the federal government directly. People probably don't realize that. The money goes out to local stations, over, you know, some 300 of them around the country, and then that gets distributed in local programming and buying shows like Morning Edition and others from NPR.
I think some people at home might agree, well, this is a valuable service. At a time when you have to cut back, what's more important? Budgets are always about priorities, and should this be one of them?
Well, you know, I totally valid point. And look, if I'm a member of Congress, I've got to look at food stamps, the Defense Department, public radio, whatever it is. I happen to believe it's an important thing. It's about education. It's about Americans understanding the very complicated world that they live in today. So it's not just about, gee, it's so interesting what's happening in Italy. What's happening in Italy in the Euro debt crisis has a direct impact on your 401k in San Diego, or your child's tuition savings, or what your kid should study at San Diego State University. And so it's really that kind of information we need more of in this country, and I think it's an important part of a public need that can be articulated maybe a bit better, but we're going to be working on that this year.
Gary Knell, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here. Thanks.
fabric of democracy, I think, really has worn very thin.
The opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice.
Americans have to fight for the American dream.
Democracy is not what governments do, it's what people do.
This is how we fight back.
Moyers and Company. I'm Bill Moyers. Join me Friday nights at 10 on KPBS San Diego. Tuesday at 10 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Tonight, a follow-up to a segment we did on water rates. I asked you whether you've been conserving but still seeing your water bill increase. The San Diego Water Authority is suing the Metropolitan Water District for overcharging users. Well, Al wrote to me. He's lived in the same house for 20 years and he's kept track of his water bill all this time. Now, take a look at this. Now, Al based these numbers on using 600 cubic feet of water. Look at his bill back in 1991. Now in 2011, look how much it's gone up. Al points out that back in the mid-90s, there was a push to conserve water and rates went up back then as well. He writes, so while conserving water, the overall water bill increased quite dramatically. It certainly appeared that the utility was inventing ways to maintain their empire and increase profits while pleading for conservation. Another viewer, Dave Fletcher, shares Al's view. He writes, the main problem with water districts and most utilities is there is no competition. If I don't like the price or the service of the given utility company, I cannot change to a competing utility company. My suggestion, take the major utilities, gas, electricity, and water out of the hands of private companies and move them into the public sector. Well, you can join this conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or the most direct way, email me, jfarian@kpbs.org. I would love to hear from you. And now let's go back to the news desk with Dwayne for a recap of tonight's top stories.
San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders gave his final State of the City address tonight, promising to close the deal on civic projects he says will take San Diego to the next level of greatness. Parole was denied again for former Highway Patrol Officer Craig Pyer. He's serving 25 years to life for murdering a San Diego woman while he was on duty. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.